Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're going to talk about players we hate. We got a lot of them we hate, Jeff, don't we?
So many.
Okay, not really. I just thought the title was a little catchier than players we kind of dislike and don't really want to draft. Players we hate just it stands out a little bit more. So that's why it's going to be players we hate. But there actually might be at least one player I do hate. We'll talk about them as we go. But before we do that, make sure you guys go check us out on Twitter. We're at the FF Prophet, or Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet, or check out our YouTube channel. Go subscribe to us there. It's youtube.com/fantasyfootballprophet. We got a couple new videos now out there that you haven't heard, you haven't seen. They're not from the podcast, so it's just different content being put out there now. So go check us out there. And if you want, make sure you could always go give us a 5-star review on iTunes. It's always helpful. Just go write us a nice 5-star review. Tell everyone how much you like the podcast. It always helps. I always like seeing those nice reviews. It's always very helpful.
Yeah, and plus we appreciate it. Very, very nice things that you guys are saying, and we appreciate you sticking with us and listening and getting us some good information.
Yeah, so it's, they've really jumped up. It's nice to see all the people coming back to the show as now the season's going on, all the new people that have joined us. It's always wonderful to see. So I have actually a question here from one of our people that's, listening to us. We got Andy out there. So he's joining his first Dynasty League. It's also a 2QB league. So he's wondering how your draft strategy would change. Do you take quarterbacks earlier than usual? And just any advice would be appreciated. So it's a 2QB Dynasty League. So I'll just say my strategy does change in 2QB leagues pretty much all the time. I do make sure you at least get one much earlier than normal. And I kind of almost go a little more extreme than sometimes. I make sure I get one in like the first 2 rounds, which not everyone does, but I like to be the one that in the 2QB league, I want to be the one that starts it. Or starts the trend of the QBs rather than wait and miss out. That's kind of how I feel. Because quarterback, in a 2QB league, it matters a lot. Those points are huge. So I want to make sure I have one of the top elite guys. The second guy I'm not as worried about. You can fill in with those back end guys who we always like. But you have to make sure you get them. You have to make sure you get 3 really solid ones, really. Because if it's only a 10-team league, there's still then 30 quarterbacks. You need a backup. It's tough, Get one early.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you have to keep in mind when you're drafting for a dynasty league is, it sounds funny, and or either it sounds like a no-brainer, but you have to look at age as well. Especially when I do any of my dynasty, I tend to lean towards younger players. So when you start going into that quarterback situation, the first, 5 out of 6 players are going to be, have been around for a while. You're talking Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, Drew Brees. Those technically, they're going to do really well. But like a Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, they're kind of, and Andrew Luck still, even though he's been around a little bit, he's super young. Those are the guys that might jump up and surprise you. So you want to make sure you get kind of one of those guys, because you don't want to have Tom Brady and then all of a sudden you have to draft, Sam Darnold type the next year and hope that he, gets up to speed really quickly. So you got to keep that in mind as well. I tend to go for the younger players and amp them up to a point where I might be reaching a little bit, but I know I'm securing my roster for years ahead.
Well, that's why the nice thing about quarterback, too, is that they do play so long. Really, at this point, the only ones you'd be worried about are Brady, Breeze, Roethlisberger, Rivers. Maybe, those are the only ones you'd be worried about right now, for the most part. So Rodgers is still young enough as a quarterback to have enough years in it to make it worth it.
I feel like this could be a whole podcast on its own, but I do have to ask you the question of, do you, and we obviously everyone knows that listens to it, we do draft heavy running back. Do you go towards a wide receiver because they do last longer, they're a little easier to predict? Do you tend to go that route? Would you take a DeAndre Hopkins because he's super young, super good, over, I'm trying to think who would be.
I'm much quicker to start going wide receiver in a dynasty. I still would probably go like the Gurley route, Zeke. Those kind of guys, I still get enough years out of them.
What are you thinking about in that situation? What are you thinking about Bell?
I might shy from Bell a little bit. I might just go Hopkins, Beckham over him.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of might go that way and then Bell. I'll probably go Barkley over Bell.
Yeah, Barkley is going to be a big one.
Yeah, it's different. It's all different. It kind of just depends on what you want to do, but the wide receivers do jump up a little bit more for me than because the running backs, it changed. When you look at these running back ranks from year to year, if we go back like 3 years and look at our running back ranks, it's just not even close. There's so many new names. It changes so much.
But this is also why if you're talking about the top 5 and if they're young, those guys will stick around.
That's why, you get the Gurley, Zeke, David Johnson, Barkley, Kamara.
Right. One of those, good. I would try to get one of those right away. And then I'd probably try to get a young top end wide receiver, and then I'd probably go QB. But, you have to really play what everyone else is doing. Like Craig said.
Yeah. Depends on
dictate.
I like to do that. I don't like to wait for that QB run and be at the back end of it.
Who would be your number one? Your number one QB if you got the pick in a dynasty to start your team off? Who would it be?
If I just picking quarterback.
Quarterback.
Just quarterback. You know what? I think I still go Rodgers. I think he's only 33? 30, is he 33 right now? 33, 34?
That's a good question.
Let me see here. So it might change my mind. He's 34 now. He'll be 35 at the end of the year. I think that's enough years. I think you're going to get, in the dynasty, you're still going to get a good 4 or 5 years. I think that's plenty enough. And I think he's far and away the best quarterback. So I still want Rodgers. Some are going to go to Sean Watson. Some are going to go Russell
Wilson. Yeah.
Would you,
in what situation would you take Tom Brady?
As my second, I'd probably do it. If he was my second, I would actually just take the risk. I would just do it as a second. Right. I mean, if you go
for the win now, figure out,
like
figure out another one.
Brady's
later.
your second, and then just make sure your third's a young guy. That's pretty much how I would do it, and I'd be comfortable with it. And you've got the win now, but also there's enough quarterbacks that come out every year.
Yeah, and also right now, I wonder too. I'd have to relook at the ranks after Luck has seemed to be healthy, but I'm wondering if he would be a steal or if he would still be, because he's got to be in the top 5. Obviously, in Dynasty, he might even be in the top. Because back in the day, he would be number 1, right?
Yeah, he would have, and he's still young. It's right now. It's hard to say because we just don't know about health, how healthy he truly is.
But he would be the one where I'm thinking I could get a deal on him.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Should we just turn this into a dynasty one? Anyway,
well, thanks to Andy for the question. We'll definitely have to talk about some dynasty strategy. That should be an episode here before we get the season started. But we're going to talk about players we hate. And quarterback wise, I really don't have any I hate. I can't really say there's a guy I truly just I hate this guy. I don't want this guy in my team because I think he's either overrated or something. Because I think quarterback's deep, and I don't think quarterback's a terribly tough decision to. I do hate Blake Bortles. I'll say that. Right. I don't like that guy. I don't think he's good.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't have a particular player I hate.
But running back. Let's talk about running back. Who do you got? Do you got anybody that just stands out to you?
I mean, I hate to rail on this guy, but McKinnon is always the guy I keep looking at, and I'm like, I just can't get behind it. I realize I still have him ranked, relatively high because he's the only guy in town for the most part. He should be better than he was, but I just feel like he got way overhyped. And every time I get to that spot, I feel like I'm jumping to a different position, or I'll wait a little bit more and then I can get a Jai, Derrick Henry or something like that, who I kind of believe in.
And Lamar Miller, just gonna.
Lamar, no,
honorary.
Okay. So Lamar Miller would have been on
this could be the Lamar Miller All Stars.
Exactly. Lamar Miller was on my I hate him list every year. Yeah. Every year I thought he was overhyped, but now he's ranked 21st, going for 22nd, and he's actually a good value. And he's actually making me feel bad that I've hated him all these years because I think he's a good pick now. He finished 14th last year, and he
doesn't even make the Lamar Miller All Stars.
He doesn't. He's on my. You know what? He's on my somewhat like list.
All right. So I'll start with my first guy. He leads the list. Clear as number 1 player I hate. Alex Collins. I don't think he's any good. He's average. I just don't think he's anything. The problem is I don't know who's behind him. That's the only problem I have. I want somebody to overtake him so badly. So I just do. Because I want to be right personally. I mean, that's mainly thing, but I just don't think he is special. I mean, I don't think he's special at all. I don't think he's anything more than just an average player. You put anybody in this situation and they're going to be perfect. They're going to do what he did. Okay, that's part of it. It's just some of fantasy football. It's not all about talent. It's about opportunity and volume you're going to get. And that's where Alex Collins is going to be. That's why he's still ranked as a player to me. I mean, I would still draft Alex Collins in the right situation, But I will never draft Alex Collins because he's never going to get to the spot where I feel comfortable with it. I just think it's completely about opportunity for him. It's completely about the amount of touches he's going to get. But if he shows any kind of signs that he can't do it, and Kenneth Dixon's healthy, or whatever, maybe even Buck Allen. Maybe Buck Allen still can do something. That's okay, probably not. But he could. I just don't think Alex Collins is that good, and because of that, he's 17th now. He's a spot ahead of JJ. He's right there ranked with LaShawn McCoy. And as much as LaShawn McCoy, age-wise, we worry about that and just the off-the-field stuff, I'm going to pick LaShawn McCoy over Alex Collins all day long. And I don't care about the off-field stuff right now. And I don't care about the fact that he's 30 because he still could do it. He's just on a bad team. Alex Collins shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be ranked close to McCoy. He shouldn't be ahead of Derrick Henry as much as Derrick Henry is going to be split in time. He shouldn't be ahead of Derrick Henry. He just shouldn't. And don't draft it.
Yeah, I see your point. I just don't think there's anyone behind him. I don't think Buck Allen is anything.
That's the worry. That's my worry.
I don't think Kenneth Dixon is that.
He's actually going to be good, and I'm going to look like an idiot.
Yeah, I think anyone who runs the ball there is going to be fine. I think they're going to put up production. So I understand your frustration, but I can't get behind you because I do think he'll be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be about the fact that he's going to have the opportunity, and they didn't bring anybody behind him. So obviously, I think they must feel decent about him. But I've seen this before. I've seen too many players do this in 1 year, and that's it, and they never do it again. So, I mean, we saw Peyton Hillis do it. Peyton Hillis did it. He did much better than Alex Collins did. We never heard from him again. Well, I mean, there wasn't anything there.
Yeah, he was on a much worse team, though.
So, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, it's true. It's very easy to disappear in 1 year. It's not a wrong thing. You know what? After looking at this list, it's hard because you look at the expert list, you really have to look at ADP where people are going. And I think the guy that stands out to me is kind of Rashad Penny. He's going at 21 right now. It's not the fact that I don't necessarily hate him, but I do hate his situation so much that it turned me into the fact that I will never end up getting him at 21. And he goes around the same spot that you're talking, really it's the Jay Ajayi, Drake Henry, Ingram. It'd be within there. So Rashad Penny, I just think, is on a team that is just not going to be able to run the ball. I think people are just overhyping him. So he'd be on my short list as well.
I'm actually really surprised the Chris Carson hype hasn't overtaken that and made him fall down further than that. I expected him to be down further. I don't necessarily believe the Chris Carson stuff, but I believe it enough that I wouldn't be drafting Penny over, Lamar Miller, Mark Ingram, and Royce Freeman, at least at running back, rookie.
Yeah, Royce Freeman, Ronald Jones, all those guys are being drafted. I don't like him either, but all those guys are being. Yeah, I do too, actually. But all those guys are being drafted after him. At least he has somewhat of a blocking front in front of him. But yeah, I think Ronald Jones won't be anything special either. But maybe that'll be an interesting one. I truly don't know what to expect. I'm not a big fan of Ronald Jones.
No, I'm not either. But I don't know. I don't think the running game is going to be very good in Seattle. So
no, it's going to be very, very bad.
And I do think Carson's going to get a lot of work. He's not going to just be getting 2 carries a game. He's going to get something.
Yeah. I mean, he better because whoever's running the ball is going to get hit a lot.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see Rashad Penny should not be the second rookie right now ranked now that, Geis is hurt. He is.
Yeah, he is.
I just don't think he should be that. Freeman should be ahead of him. Ronald Jones, I believe, probably should be ahead of him. As much as I don't really like Ronald Jones that much, I think he should be ahead of him. And I don't even love Freeman either. I don't like any of them right now. I don't like the situation for pretty much any of these rookies right now.
No, and then Sony Michel, Kerryon Johnson, you don't know what to expect, but they're in better situations than Rashad Penny.
I like Nick Chubb better
by far, and he's in a three-way tie.
And I kind of like Nick Chubb a little better. I really do. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the rookies this year. I think they've been severely overhyped. Geis was the guy I liked. Yeah. Other than Barkley, we just don't even think about Barkley. He's just good.
Yeah, he's the man.
Geis was the one I thought could do something, it's a disappointment, which makes me hate all Washington running backs. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Samaje Perine,
try to
Rob
figure
Kelly.
That out. Talk about a sea of mediocrity.
And I actually like Chris Thompson, but he's still hurt. So. Yeah. I hate that backfield.
Yeah, that team is turning into just one cluster. I don't want anyone on that team unless, unless the tight end can stay healthy. They would be the only guy that I would possibly want, but you can't predict that either.
I hate the New England backfield now that Sony Michel's hurt and Burkhead's coming in there.
Yeah, I know. And that's the part. I actually liked Burkhead a lot before they drafted Sony Michel, but now I'm just in no man's land because I think Sony Michel would have been really good in that role. And then Burkhead would, but Sony Michel's going to come back and it's New England and
Right. It's just, all of that.
Yep.
All right. Go to wide receivers, unless you have another running back.
No, I really don't.
Wide receivers. Anybody here you just can't stand?
Okay, there's... It's not that I can't stand him, and I'm not going to belabor this point because we talked about him before, but I think Mike Evans is being over...
Don't agree.
I think he's too risky to take up there. But the guy that I have a very difficult time with, and I hate to say this, but it's Doug Baldwin. At 13, I think that's just way too high when you have all these guys around him that you could take.
It's not even necessarily he's not healthy.
No, exactly.
So I'm really worried. I can't find myself drafting him unless he's my second and I'm like completely waiting until like the fourth, like it has to be like the back end of the fourth or something. I worry about that injury right now.
Yeah, and it's not the fact that I hate the player. It's the fact that every time I come to him, I won't draft him. I'll be like, I can wait on wide receiver every time that enters my mind. And that's just telling me that I'm like, I'm never going to draft a guy.
Yes, because after that, there's a lot of guys in that mid tier that you kind of like. Like,
yeah.
Marvin Jones is ranked after him, who
Yep.
like him, Juju. Brandon Cooks, Chris Hogan for you. I'm not as big of a Chris Hogan guy. I think he'll be good. I'm actually coming around on Chris Hogan a little bit.
Good. You should. Even Jarvis Landry. I don't know what's going on with Josh Gordon, but Jarvis Landry keeps inching up in my mind because he's a sure thing. And if Josh Gordon is in there, he has to be the playmaker too a bit. He keeps inching up in my head. So I have him down there. And then even farther down, like I can go off and get a running back in that position where I would have to draft Baldwin. And I can wait and I can get someone like Corey Davis at 29.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. So it's not the fact that I hate him. I feel bad that he's like severely overshadowed every year. But I think this time he actually is being drafted a little too high because every year he's falling a little bit by little bit. And he had that one big year. He was 7th, then 10th, then 13th. And now he's hobbled too. He's never missed a game and he was putting up those numbers. He is the only guy in town. That's what people are kind of relying on. But I think that's very dangerous because he's also the guy that everyone's going to key on. And
another guy I hate Devontae Parker.
Yeah, okay, he deserves
that. I hate it.
He deserves that one.
I just hate him. I mean,
we gave him too much love.
We did, and he just burned us all, and he can't live up to the hype. And I have him in my Dynasty League, and I had to keep him, and I didn't want to, but I did. It's like Kevin White. I just gave up on Kevin White, finally. It's like Kevin White to me all over again. That's your sign. Don't listen to me in drafting rookie receivers at Dynasty Leagues. I've got Kevin White, I've drafted Laquan Treadwell, and I've drafted Devontae Parker. So, great record I have. You should feel good about that. I drafted DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley in our Dynasty League this year. So
that's a kiss of death.
Man, I did draft Michael Thomas, though, a couple years ago.
That's true.
But I'm like 1 for 4.
Percentage is not high.
Running backs, I'm better, but... Devontae Parker, you suck.
Dude, and it's funny. I look at these players and I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to pick them. There's 2 more that I see immediately as I'm going through this, and we hit 31 and 33.
Pierre Garçon, no way.
Exactly. Pierre Garçon and Robert Woods. I'm never going to draft. I'm never going to draft them. They should be there.
Honestly, I'm going to throw Devin Funchess in there because I can't find. You're not going to get him I can't draft him. I can't do it.
Now, you look at the people behind him, and you're like,
Sorry, Cooper Kupp.
I was about to say.
Kind of on that list.
I was going to say, I know you're not going to pick him either, but you have Robbie Anderson, Marquise Goodwin, Will Fuller. I know you like Randall Cobb a little bit.
I like Goodwin, too, quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you can wait on those players, too. So that's kind of where my head is at. And, it never makes sense to pick those guys.
It really doesn't. And I can't see I'd much rather draft Mike Williams. It's really sad, but I would. And he's way down the ranks, but I want Mike Williams over them.
And honestly, instead of going after like a Robert Woods, I would rather just pick Des Bryant, assume he's going to be on a team, and then be like, he has a good upside.
Okay, honestly, I'll look at number 30 too on the experts in the rankings. Right, Emmanuel Sanders. I'm the same with Sanders. You might be better. I'm not. I'm done with Sanders. So like in the expert ranks right now, 30, 31, 32, 33. I'm just done on all 4 of them. I don't like them. I just don't. Not a fan. I can't do it. Yeah, I don't know. There's nobody really up the list that I like hate.
Yeah, it's hard to hate him because you kind of assume they're.
I kind of hate Adam Thielen because he's taking away big targets. Yeah,
get out of here.
Just slightly. There's just an annoyance. I'll say an annoyance.
Well, you should actually love him because he's the only reason Stephon Diggs isn't like number one because of this uncanny love for him right now.
He's great. I mean, I've been on this one for months, man.
No, you're pushing this bus hard, and it's finally going somewhere.
It is.
He's gonna make the top 10. I'm gonna be like, they went a little too far.
All right, let's go. We're gonna finish up the list with some tight ends here. If there's any tight ends that you hate, you know what? There kind of is for me, in a way. I mean, I'm not gonna say I hate Delaney Walker, but I don't like drafting Delaney Walker.
Yeah, I would say it's close of a hate. I feel like he always came up every time that we were bashing people. Oh, there is one guy that we should talk about. Go ahead, get it out of your system.
Eric Ebron, you suck. You do. You're a terrible football player. You should retire. And I hate you for all the disappointment you gave the Lions fans.
If he turns into a good player in Indianapolis, I'm going to pull out my hair because what a waste of a pick that was.
A first rounder. What was he?
Top 10.
Oh, my God.
I think it was number 10. We're good. Oh, yeah. That guy is... That's a lion's pain right there. That cuts deep.
And you can't even blame it on Matt Millen. He wasn't even around.
You can blame everything on Matt Millen. But yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that...
Eric Ebron's
really
like enough for everything.
Right. He just covers all the hate bases.
He really does. I kind of hate Jordan Reed for all the missed years of potential he's had and his injuries. He kind of bothers me. But I kind of like it in the fact that I think he's a value now.
Yep. My Lamar Miller pick.
Right. He's like, kind of become now where you don't have to do anything to get him. And he's just kind of, okay, if it works out, it's great. If it doesn't, who cares, right? It's one of those. But Eric Ebron, I see his name again.
Also, I feel like the upside kind of thing. I think Jack Doyle being number 11. I just think he's
too much for me.
Yeah, he's gonna be one that I never draft either.
No, it's
not necessarily hate, but I just think that's.
Just think, why would I ever pick him? I don't do it.
No,
I wait that round. If he's there, I wait another round or two, and I'll take Njoku or Howard or Eifert, or really wait and get Kittle and hope he's back for week one.
Or Ricky Seals-Jones or Eric Ebron.
He's going to be good or something. That's probably going to happen. And
I know.
I'm just going to be disappointed. And I can't. The first week he gets like 8 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns or something ridiculous.
Well, that's what's going to happen. It will be 1 week that he goes off. And then everyone will think he's good. And
we'll all be disappointed. Well, I think that's it for me for players we hate.
Yeah. It was a quick list, but enough venom.
Yeah, just stay away. Basically, it's the stay away from list. Stay away from those guys. It just isn't, Eric Ebron. Just upsetting. The Lions wasted a 10th pick on him. Just the 10th pick in the draft. They could have had so many good players. I don't
even want to play that game. Look back and see who we passed up on.
Are you sure? You really want to know?
Kinda.
I don't think you do. I think it's going to...
This is like salt in the wound. It's in order to get over him quicker.
Severely disappoint you. And just, you're not going to be happy. Actually, I can't really remember who's after him, but I will find out. And, I mean, he was the 10th pick?
Yeah, 10th pick. Overall.
Oh, man. So he's 10th.
That's the worst with tight ends, too.
Oh, God.
It was that bad,
That's right. I remember this now.
Who was it? Off with the Band-Aid.
At number 12, 2 picks after Lions picked Eric Ebron, the New York Giants selected Odell Beckham.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, ooh, that hurts.
Yeah, that one really hurts.
Who else is down there?
The Rams picked Aaron Donald.
Oh, my gosh.
13. Even the Titans picking Taylor Lewan at 11 is even a better.
It would have been solid.
He's better. I mean, Brandon Cooks at number 20. I'd rather have Brandon Cooks. I'd even take Calvin Benjamin. Even as disappointing he's been, he's not been as disappointing as Eric Ebron.
Was there any other tight ends in that draft?
Austin Seferian-Jenkins went in the second. No. He's been a disappointment too. Jason Morrow, remember that name?
Oof, no.
CJ Fedorowicz was in that one. as well. Oh man, that's just disappointing. Okay, that's gonna do it. We'll be back.
Players we hate and Lions lament.
Oh, okay. We'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna probably do a mailbag, so get your questions in. If you have any questions for us, submit them to us. We'll make sure to get to them for that episode. Just go email us, fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com, and we'll try to answer everyone's questions for the show. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.